Shalom, this is Levi Shore. Welcome back to Sweet Good Torah. Today we're going to take a glimpse into the world peace that's going to be in the days of Mashiach, in Yemotza Mashiach. So, what is peace? So, in Lashon HaKodesh, in the holy language, the word for peace is shalom. And the word peace, it comes from the word shalem, meaning complete, whole. So, real peace comes when a person feels whole, when he feels complete, when you feel like you have everything you need and you don't need anything else, you're at peace. You have shalom because you're not looking, you don't feel any lack, you don't need anything else. So peace, in order for the world to have peace, the world has to be completed. The final tikkun, the final fix of the world has to be in complete eradication of evil, and then there will only be good. And then in that state, we can truly have world peace. All right, so we're going to take a look at first we're going to take a look at Shir Hashirim. And Shir Hashirim begins, and it says Shir Hashirim Asher LeShlomo. That's very interesting. So this is in the Song of Songs. It was written by King Solomon. Now, Rashi says something very interesting. It seems weird. It's like what it literally means is the Song of Songs that is to Shlomo, that is to Solomon. So it sounds like King Solomon is dedicating this book to himself. But Rashi brings up a very important point. Rashi says in the other books that King Solomon wrote, in Mishlei, Proverbs, and in Koheles, Ecclesiastes, Shlomo refers to himself as Shlomo ben David, Solomon, the son of David. But yet Chazal says here in Shir Hashirim, in the Song of Songs, that the word Shlomo, it means something different. It means Mi Sheha Shalom Shalo. It means someone who peace is his. And it can also mean Melech Sheha Shalom Lo, the king to who peace belongs. So we see something very interesting here. We see that where does Shalom come from? Where does peace come from? Peace can only come from Hashem. Now, why Hashem? Why is Hashem the source of all shalom, the source of all peace? So if we go back to what we said earlier, if peace is shalem, if peace is being whole and complete, then who is whole and complete? It's Hashem, the infinite being, the Ein Sof, the infinite, the omnipotent, the all-knowing, the all-powerful. There's no lack in Hashem. Now, Hashem's created us as finite beings. So we have lack, we have deficiencies. We're trying to become, shalim. We're trying to become whole. We're trying to fix, what needs to be fixed in us. And how we can do that is in the physical world, things are incomplete, things are finite, things wear away. But we were created with Tselem Elohim. So inside of us, we have this neshama, we have this soul. And this is something that's not of the physical world. It's something ruchnius, it's spiritual. And who we are, who our real essence is this spiritual being. And that is going to allow us to uplift the whole physical world and bring it back to the state of shalom, of being whole. And Hashem's made us partners in the creation, and He's given us the instructions. The instruction book is the Torah. This is the blueprint for all creation. So through using the Torah, we can elevate the whole physical world and we can bring it to this perfected state. Okay, so let's take a glimpse. So we're going to take a glimpse in the Nevuah of Yeshaya, the prophecy of Isaiah. So it's Isaiah chapter 2, verse 2. If you want to take a look at it, let's bring it up here on the screen. And here we're going to get a real glimpse of what the world will be like in the days of Mashiach when there truly is world peace. So it says, "V'haya ba'achris hayamim," and it will be in the end of days. And it says, "Nachon yihyeh har beis Hashem berosh haharim." And it says here that the mountain of the house of Hashem is going to be established, and it's going to be established above. Is going to be established as the head. This is going to be the main mountain of the world where the third base of Mikdash will stand, the third temple. And what it's going to show is it says, Isaiah says, it says, Benisa Migavos, and then this is going to be the Rosh Haharim. So the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, the third base of Mikdash, the third temple, and it stands on Har Moriah, Mount Moriah, and this is going to be the head of all the mountains. So Barosh Harim, it's going to be the head of all the mountains. We'll talk about what that means. Benisa Migavaos, and it's going to be uplifted from all the hills. V'nachru elav kol hagoyim. And then, like rivers, all the nations of the world are going to stream to see the base of Mikdash, to see the house of Hashem. All right, so what does this mean? So it means that there's going to be no more division in the world anymore about there's not going to be all these other religions. So like for instance, like right now there's the religion in Rome, there's a religion in Mecca, there's you can point to other religions in the world, Buddhism, Hinduism, all the religions of the world, but the world's going to be unified and the world's going to see that there's really only one infinite being. There's one infinite being who's created all of mankind, who loves all mankind, who wants a relationship with all mankind, and this is going to be very unifying. So the world's going to be whole again, and there's not going to be any more divisions of the world. They're going to see that really the only God in the world is Hashem. There's only one infinite being. And so the temple in Jerusalem is going to be raised above all the other religions. And Rabbi Shimchon Raphael Hirsch, he also says that it means above all the world leaders. There'll be just one unified world, and all the governments will they'll give respect to Jerusalem as the holy city of Hashem. And he says that the mountains, are the bigger world powers, and the hills are the smaller world powers. All right, so then the third verse, let's see what it says here. It says, the halchu amim rabim, and then many people are going to go, and ve'amru, and they're going to say, lechu v'nale el har Hashem. So the nations of the world, they're going to say, let us go and let us go up. Let us elevate ourselves in spirituality. Let's go to the mountain of Hashem, El Beis Elohei Yaakov, to the house of the God of Jacob. Vayorenu midrachav, and let us learn his ways. Let's learn Hashem's ways. Let's learn the ways of the Torah. Let's learn the ways of, proper midos, the good character traits we should all have. V'neilcha be'orcha chasav, and we should go in his pathways. So what it means is all the nations of the world, now they're going to want to learn the halacha, how to follow the mitzvahs. So there's 7 mitzvahs that were given to the Bnei Noach, the children of Noah, and this means the 7 mitzvahs that were given to the whole world. And then they're probably going to want to also learn the whole Torah. Even though they're not commanded in the 613 mitzvahs of the Torah, they're going to know everything that Hashem has commanded the world. And then everyone's going to be learning the same thing. Everyone's going to know that this is the way of spiritual elevation, and we're going to see a unified world. And then, Ki mitzion teitzei Torah. So from Sion, it has the connotations now of the political movement of Zionism, but the Torah's meaning of Sion, Sion is the name of the Har HaBayis. It's the name of the Temple Mount where the temple will be rebuilt. And Sion is from the word Mitsuyan. It means it's marked off. It's special. It's elevated above everything else. It's the special place in the world. It's Sion, and it's the Temple Mount where Hashem will build his house. Udavar Hashem Mirushalayim. And then the word of Hashem will go out from Jerusalem. So what does this mean? So we see in other nevuah, in other prophecies, that prophecy is going to be returned to the Jewish people, and that Hashem will communicate through the Jewish people and speak to the world. So Hashem will now not be hidden, not be silent, but there'll be constant dialogue. And people will pray to Hashem, ask questions to Hashem, and Hashem's word will come back through the Jewish people, through the new nevuah, through the prophecy, and the Devar Hashem, and the word of Hashem will go out from Jerusalem. Oh, sometimes I hit the wrong button here. Let me see if I can correct this. And we'll go down to the next pasuk here. I did it again. Here we go. Let me go down here and we'll go to the fourth pasuk. Let me close this. Okay, so then it says, V'shafat bein hagoyim. So then Hashem's going to judge between the nations. So Hashem's going to bring perfect justice between all the nations. If any nation's harmed another nation, and then the wrong that the nations have done to the Jewish people, everything will be judged and justice will be given out. So there'll be perfect mishpat in the world, perfect justice. V'hochia le'amim rabim. And he's going to rebuke the many nations, and it's going to be like a parent, teaching the children, how to straighten out their ways. So now everyone's going to be, with better behavior. V'chisvu charvosam le'itim. And then the very famous pasuk here that they will beat their swords into plowshares. So all the trillions of dollars now that are going into war, going into military technology, going into the armies of the world, all that money, all that trillions of dollars, instead of wasting it in country fighting other countries, all that money can go into agriculture, can go into making the lives better for everyone that lives in the world. And then the next part of it is the chaniso sehem lamaz meros. And then their spears will now be turned into pruning hooks. And here now you can remove like all the great fruit that's growing on the trees, all the beautiful orchards, and all the produce of the ground and all the produce of the trees. And it can change, like all the technology can be devoted to uplifting mankind and not, devoted to killing and war. Below Yisa Goy El Goy Cherev. And no longer will nation lift up a sword against another nation. Below Yilmadu Od Milchama. And no longer will they learn war, will they know war. So not only will the nations stop fighting each other, but all that time spent in war and combat can now be changed, and all the time and all the resources can now be given to studying and acquiring wisdom and to know the ways of Hashem, and will be unified world, all trying to gain the same wisdom. All right, so how do we get there? It sounds amazing. How do we finally get to Yemotza Mashiach? So we'll leave with one more little thing for today, and something very special. It's a special mitzvah of the Kohanim. So the Kohanim are descendants of Aaron HaKohen, and Aaron HaKohen, Aaron, who is Moshe's brother, Moses' brother, he had a special quality of being a Rodef Shalom. He chased after peace. If he saw a husband and wife fighting, he would rush in and make peace between them, make sure there's shalom bayis, there's peace in the home. If two neighbors were fighting, Aaron would rush right in. So Aaron and his descendants have this special quality of being a Rodef Shalom, and they were given this mitzvah, a special mitzvah called the Birkas Kohanim, to bless the Jewish people. So let me bring this up on the screen here. We'll see it's something very powerful, and we'll see how we can start to get the peace. So it's broken up into three different blessings. Now, this blessing was given by the Kohanim in the Beis Hamikdash, in the temple. So when the temple returns, they'll be able to do this again. I'm not going to put it together, but you may have seen this from Star Trek. But the Kohanes, they put together their hands. I'm not going to put it together here. And they give this special blessing. It's very mystical. It's very deep. I'm going to do a very long video on just the mystery of the Birkas Kohanim himself, but we're going to go through it very briefly right now. So it's three parts. So we see three blessings. So it's very interesting. It builds. So first we have 3 words. Then we're going to have 5 words. And then we're going to have 7 words. So all together, we're going to have 15 words. And that's the gematria of the first 2 letters of Hashem's name, Yud and Hey. Yud is 10, Hey is 5. So we're getting a blessing through the Kohanim from, as we said before, from Hashem, from the source of all shalom, of all blessing. So the first thing we say is, and Jewish parents, they bless their children with this blessing on Shabbos night. And nowadays, only on the special Chagim, so Pesach, Passover, Shavuos, and Sukkot. So we have the Birkas Kohanim in Jerusalem. Sephardim have the minhag. They still do this in shul all the time. And Ashkenazis, they also only do this blessing on the festivals. But it was said every day. It when the Beis Hamikdash stood in the temple. Okay, so the first part is Vayivarechecha Hashem v'yishmerecha. So we say that Hashem, may you bless and may you guard, and we'll see what that means. We'll see like each step. So the first step here is Vayivarechecha Hashem v'yishmerecha. So in order to lead to that state of shalom, of being whole, to lead to shalom, the first step is blessings for everything a person physically needs. So a blessing of wealth, money to sustain their families, of physical health. Here I'm meaning guarding a person from any physical illness, but also meaning guarding from the Yetzer Hara, guarding from doing Averos. And now we have the physical means that we can learn the Torah and do the mitzvahs of the Torah. We're protected. We have everything we need physically, and that's the first step, elevating to shalom. So the next part of the blessing is Ya'er Hashem panav elecha v'chunecha. So may Hashem like illuminate his face to you and give you grace, give you charisma, give you favorability. Okay, so what does this mean? So it's a very deep mystical concept here. There's a structure of the spheros, the 10 spheros, and then the spheros are they're further divided into 10 spheros, and they become partsufim, they become these faces. So the faces, Hashem is an infinite being. Hashem doesn't really have a face, but here we're talking about the spiritual flow of light, the Or Ein Sof, the infinite light. It should flow through this spiritual structure. That's the structure of the universe, and the spiritual light should come from the highest face, meaning Atik Yomim, the Ancient of Days, Eric Anpin, and it should flow through this structure. It should flow from the highest partsuf, the highest face in the spiritual structure, and the spiritual light, the blessing should come down. Now this part, Vichuneka, this is the next step. This means that Hashem should bless us, that we should have charisma, we should be likable, and that in our relations with our family and our friends, we should get along with everyone. So just in our immediate day-to-day lives, this blessing starts to go out, and Hashem's sending the spiritual flow. So what we said before is when everything's fixed, when the tikkun in the world, the fix of the world, when everything is fixed, all the spiritual damage is fixed. That started with Adam and Chava, Adam and Eve, and everything's fixed in the days of Mashiach. Then the spiritual flow will constantly be turned on, and then people will have, instead of fighting with each other and all this constant, dissension and division, there'll be peace as a person interacts with his family and friends. Then the higher level, then we finally get to the third of the blessings. It says, Yisa Hashem panav elecha. Now this is going to be the spiritual light, the infinite light comes down, and now it's going to uplift. And we say that Hashem, may you lift your face to you. And now all that spiritual light has come down, and now it's all being lifted up, and it's lifting us with it, and we're becoming very highly elevated spiritual beings. And then v'yasem lecha shalom. And now Hashem can place for you peace. Okay, so that's just a little glimpse here today. Maybe we'll do more of this if people enjoy it. Please like, share, subscribe. Please let me know your comments, and hopefully we'll do some more shirim, some more videos on peace. And the world could really use a lot more peace right now, and this is the goal. This is where everything's headed. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you back again soon on Sweet and Good Torah.